Though our institutions are challenged, there is still such a thing as expertise. There is still such a thing as institutional knowledge. There's a need for institutions that we can trust. Certainly, when you're in the middle of a pandemic, we need a CDC and an FDA that we can actually trust, right? So the fact that we felt that we couldn't quite trust them is an enormous problem, and it's the thing we need to shore up is the trustworthiness of indispensable institutions. It's not that we need to tear everything down to the studs such that there are no institutions. No one thinks in terms of institutions. It's all just podcasts and Substack newsletters as far as the eye can see, and we're just going to all do our own research, right? I think it's not to say that doing your own research is never valid and it's never even important. I mean, there's certainly cases where one person can pull at a thread long enough that something really important unravels and we're all, wiser for it. Or that, one individual, given a specific problem in their lives, let's say a medical problem, they do their own research and they discover the remedy for the thing that was ailing their family member or whatever. And the doctors didn't do it, and the CDC didn't do it, and the FDA was wrong, and they found the thing that helped. Okay, great. Generally speaking, when times are good, doing your own research is just frankly a waste of time, and when things really matter, it's very likely a dangerous waste of time, right? It's like you don't get on an airplane and decide, I'm not so sure I trust the pilot or the guy, the guys who repaired the engines. I'm going to do some of my own research here. Let me in the cockpit. I want to interrogate some of those dials and switches. It's like that's not a situation where anyone would tolerate this sort of contrarian, anti-establishment, I'm going to innovate, just break stuff and see what happens. And the problem is, in many respects, we are at 30,000 feet together, all of us, all the time, and we're having to figure out what is real and what to do. And we do need experts that actually warrant our trust because they are in fact experts, right? So when there's just specific cases like what's really happening in Ukraine and why, and what should we do about it, right? Should we be sending them arms? Is Putin lying about, the last thing he said was true on the ground? When our State Department has a press conference and tells us what's going on, we need a State Department that we trust to inform us, right? And when the New York Times has some point of view on what's happening there, we need a New York Times that is sourcing information in a way that is valid. We can't have everyone trying to get to ground truth based on their own private efforts to come up with what we should all think about Ukraine or what we should all think about mRNA vaccines or whatever it is.
But people do feel that, and I certainly felt that at the beginning of this. So as I hear you say, so remember my initial question is, what's your foundation? And the foundation felt like you want it to be experts, but you understand how much they've eroded their credibility. So my question, because I don't disagree with you, if I was at 30,000 feet, I don't want people going in and trying to mess with the pilot. But I think that the analogy might not quite be right for what we went through. What it felt like, I'll just speak for myself, but I think I represent a lot of people. What it felt like was, oh, I'm realizing that the pilot is lying to me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm willing to be generous and say the pilot is lying to me because they're trying to stamp out evil. And they really believe that to trick the American public into taking a vaccine, whatever, is the right answer. And that they are doing it with a big heart and that they really just want to help people get where they're going. But like when they said, masks don't work, it was just like, come on, that doesn't make any sense. And then they flip and they're like, no, of course, actually masks do work. And we were just lying to you because we needed to get them into the medical professionals' hands. So it's like just slowly they start eroding and you suddenly realize everybody has an agenda. Now that I get it. But where it starts to be a problem for me is when